Hello again. I am recording a video because I need to. And I want to because I like this What If series, because it's logical. I hope so. Well, not logical in the human sense, but in the My Hero verse, easy. Makes logic. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. But anyways, not the problems with my What If. We're just gonna go into the part now. Part 4. What if Deku stayed quirkless? Okay, so now Deku is with Deku is just went on the bus. It's a day later, and they're going on the bus to the camp. Deku just sits next to Kirishima and Tetsu because he's his best friends. And then Deku, well, they get there off the bus, and before Aizawa can say a word, Deku jumps off the cliff. Everyone looks over the cliff like, did this guy just seriously jump off a cliff? Until the cliff cushions him, until Deku gets cushioned, and then Deku realizes, oh, I was just gonna make it short. I was just gonna do a shortcut, but okay, this works. And then they all get tumbled down the hill. Easier this time because they're all in one area. And then, well, Deku has to get protected by everyone else because, actually no, Deku can like break off some of their arms with his Nomu arm. He can do it. Just has bashing through everyone. Definitely would start losing parts of his shirt, but he does not care. It's Deku. It's a Deku with confidence. You can't defeat that. And then they finally get across, exact same time. Actually, earlier than they got there in the original, because Bakugo has one for all, by the way. Because you can obviously tell he's... Alright. Deku goes towards... Deku runs. Alright. Alright, so Deku goes and sits down, eats his dinner, and then finds Koda, wants to go talk to him, but Koda tries to hit him in the nads, but Deku grabs his hand and just says, nah, man, just, nah. And so now Deku just lets go of the kid's fist, the kid being a bit shocked the guy caught it, and then they both leave. Well, Koda just leaves. And eventually, well, the next day, they are doing training. Deku is doing the exact same thing he did in the original, just learning more moves in his kit. And getting more stretchy. And he's getting more stretchy, too. And then, of course, the memory Deku passed, and so the next thing to do is, well, Deku's walking through the forest, and he hears a clicking, and the clicking's coming from teeth. He's hearing, yep, it's Moonfish, and the Moonfish tries to get Deku. Deku just stabs his own Nomu arm into it, shattering all of the Moonfish's teeth, and then Deku just, Broly grabs him and bodies him. DBZ Broly, like in what this guy should be doing right now. You know, like, yeah, he just grabs him, punches him, and then he gets freaking sent through a bunch of walls and then out. And then Deku, knowing this, he just runs, takes out both the moonfish's teeth, and then starts climbing up the wall, finding Koda, because the only way he knew that is because he tracked Koda's footprints. Seeing Koda about to get slammed by Muscular, but Deku's there, blocking it with his Nomu arm, and then it twisting completely, and eventually just heals in a lot of pain. And then Deku starts slamming in Muscular's face, but Muscular just keeps eating it because, you know, Muscular quirk. Yeah, Deku's just getting bodied at this point. He can't do anything until Zawa shows up, following Deku's stabbing prints and climbing up it with his rope, his thing, and then disabling Muscular's quirk, which gave Deku the chance to up Muscular. Yeah, Muscular just got bodied. He has no battle experience without his quirk, so he just got completely, utterly bodied. Like, Deku grabs his hand, twists it, and then just starts popping in his jaw, and then his rib cage, and then just twists his Muscular's arm, snapping it, and then bodies, then picking up Muscular, doing a full Nelson on him and just slamming him into the ground. Hit him with the Zangief, then he hits him with the Zangief spin attack, slamming him into the ground. Good job, Dick. Good job, Dick. You defeated Muscular when he had no grip. And then Aizawa just immediately Elon bolts back to the place where the trans girl was at and where Spinner was also at. And then Deku just completely, and then Deku just runs into the forest with Koda on his back. And Koda wanting to go back, with Deku saying, yeah, let's just go back. And then they start running. And then they run into Toga, who just tries to cut Deku open, but Deku weaves, grabs her knife with his thighs, and snapping her wrist. It will heal, don't worry. She is Toga, and she will always reside. And then Deku just knees her in the mouth, and then she starts like, this is squealing on the floor, like, ah, because her nose is bleeding. And then Deku runs, continues to run. And then Deku just drops Koda off and then runs into the forest. Finding this guy just jumping through the woods, Deku uses his no arm to kick himself upwards to his level, grabbing the guy by his throat, and then breaking his mask with Deku's bare fist, not knocking him out, but hurting like hell. Well, and then Compress smacks Deku with his staff to get him off him, until he goes for Deku's arm with his knife, and then it cuts it off. By the way, it's his normal arm, and it just goes numb afterwards. And then it just hits Deku in the head. Deku grabs it, attaches it back onto him, and then Todoroki says that Bakugo is in one of those orbs, and they need to get them. And then Deku says, "What? Yeah, we need to get over there, okay? Okay. Um, you want to try something? I'm up for anything. Alright." And then Deku grabs Shoto by his back, yeeting him into the sky. Then Todoroki gets the plan, then uses his hand as a thruster, and then covers his hand in ice, and then just backhands Compress right back to Deku, and Deku just uses his hand to grab Compress by the waist, spinning, and then Zangiefing his ass. Again, he Zangiefed another person. But Compress is very nimble, so he's able to not get knocked out by this attack. So he just kicks Deku in the face, and then starts swinging at Deku with his Compress. He starts hitting Deku with his staff, and then Deku grabs it and takes it out of his hand, then just completely smacks the crap out of Compress with it, and then knocking him out. And then Deku realizes he has only one orb, and then Deku flicks it, it opens, and then it's Tokoyami. We get a flashback of seeing him get pimp slapped, but he flicks itself very far away until it hits into Dobby, who picks it up and just leaves. Actually, he doesn't leave, he stays. Then all of them just body. And then Deku and him, Deku runs towards Dobby because he knows where the fire is coming from, and then he catches, uh, to- Todoroki from falling, and then just keeps running with him, and then tells him to shoot an iceberg right towards that direction. So he does it, but a flame hits it, a blue flame. But Deku is already climbing the iceberg, jumps off the iceberg, and then just freaking palm strikes Dobby in the face, slamming his head into the ground. Then he jumps off it with his bare hand, grabbing his foot that was kicked up by the slam, spinning him in the air and hitting him against the melting ice until Dobby just shoots a massive flames for Deku. So Deku has to do a quirk that the Nomu had. If you're wondering, it was a secret quirk that no one knew about it. Yeah, I'm just giving Deku plot convenience. Where his arm just, all of the bones in his arm turns into a shield, and then it blocks his arm turns into a shield, and then it blocks all the flames. Still burning his arm, but not completely off. So he slams it back into its original position, and then it just heals all the burns. And then Deku chucks a massive rock, slams his hand into the ground, then chucks a massive lard of land at Dobby, but Dobby just jumps it, slamming himself against the iceberg, but he climbs the iceberg with his burning feet until guess who shows up? Uh, Shoto then puts his hand right on next to Dobby's face, and then Dobby gets absolutely slammed into the with an icicle. You heard nothing, and then Deku freaks him up. Well, then Dobby falls towards the ground, where Deku's there, gonna catch the marble, but Dobby catches it, shows it to Deku, and then disappears. With, like, coughing up goop and disappears. And then we cut to all the characters, except Muscular, disappearing. And that's the end of the arc. And then Deku, uh, not yells his Deku Baku's name, he's like, damn. He yelled at, damn it. Because this motherfucker dares take his rival from him, and then Deku just runs through the forest, busting trees down, catches up with everyone, asking if he can just go find Bakugo, but obviously the Zara says no, until Momo pulls him aside, telling him that she planted a tracker on one of the Nomu that showed up with them, and she can track him if you would like to go. And then, of course, Deku gathers up Kirishima, Tetsu, Shinso, Shoto, and who else? And, well, also Momo. Well, that's it. That's the whole group. And so, they set off, finding the Nomu's area, and then Deku just plants a lot of his... By the way, Deku brought a lot of his hero gear with him, but not his hero costume. So then he puts all of his grenades into this thing, and next to a boiler, then Deku holds a string, and then tearing it, picking everyone up, and running towards this bar. He knows that the villains are in there, by the way. Yeah, the place explodes, everyone gets shocked, Deku opens the door immediately, and chucks Kirishima and Tetsu at Dobby and Dabi and Toga. And then Deku tells Twice to speak, and then Shinso says, "Hello," and then Twice answers with, "Hi," and then he gets trapped. And then Shinso tells him to knock himself out, and then, uh, Twice chops him, pops his head against a pipe and knocks himself out. And Dabi tries to burn Tetsu, but Tetsu goes through it, popping Dabi in the face, putting him out first, dazing him, and then Tetsu starts just putting the hands on Dabi. And then Kirishima next to Toga. Toga tries to cut Kirishima. Blade breaks, and Tetsu knocks the girl clean out. And Momo uses her quirk to make a cannon, which Deku uses to shoot a cannon towards uh, Korogiri, so Korogiri tries deflecting it, but Deku's already on Korogiri, so he either has to make a portal to protect himself from the bomb or Deku's kick or punch, which he thinks is just a very pale arm, but actually it's a Nomu arm. So he chooses the arm, but then he gets pummeled and knocked out. And then Shigaraki's about to get captured. Well, Shigaraki then gets caught by the leg, slammed against the wall, thrown towards Shinso, Tetsu, and Kirishima. Kirishima and Tetsu punch the cheeks. You know, man, the ones on your face, not the ones on your butt, you know. And then so Deku, yeah. Then Deku, well, it's Deku, yeah, and then that's what they do. And then Shinso hits him with a boot kick, and then he gets knocked. And then Rocky's out. Compress tried to do something, but he just got taken out by Tetsu. By the way, Compress is also Dabi's also out because metal fist to the face kind of hurts. Toga's also out, and yeah, everyone's out. And then Deku just uses his normal arm to break the restraints for Bakugo. And he says to Bakugo, "I swear to God, if you get kidnapped one more time," you're thinking, right, Bakugo, that this is my first time being kidnapped. That's too many, Bakugo. That's too many. Okay? Capiche? And then Bakugo nods. Capiche? That big frustrated that and said capiche. And Bakugo does say capiche. In a very quiet voice. Now that's all I'm talking about. And then Deku chops Bakugo on the head, telling him, "Well, I guess we..." And then the place explodes. Luckily, Deku used and then Deku used his bloody shield to shoot himself upwards, so far upwards that it would kill a normal man if Deku didn't use his shield. So Deku slams himself against the rocks, and then he regenerates his hand to an actual hand. And then, yes, Momo, Shinso, both out. Kirishima and Tetsu grabbed them before the explosion happened, saving them. Bakugo was fine as well. So basically, Deku, Bakugo, Tetsu, and Kirishima are the only ones up. And then All For One just appears like, really? These are the ones that took out my League of Villains? Pathetic. And then he shoots his big boy cannon at them. But Tetsu, Kirishima, and Deku's Nomu shield block it. Barely. Like, Deku's arm is broken. Completely. And he regenerates, of course. And then Deku throws a massive rock at him with his... He throws a boulder at All For One with his arm, but he just breaks it with one punch. and then just shoots his tendrils at Deku, but Tetsu and Kirishima break those things. So, eventually All Might gets there and starts bodying All For One. But not bothering, getting bodied by All For One, but Deku is helping by throwing massive boulders at All For One, so he gets hit by massive boulders. And Tetsu and Kirishima keep blocking uh, threatening moves to All Might's health. And Baku is just throwing massive explosions at him. And eventually, All For One throws an attack towards Deku, actually, and then Deku actually gets hit by it, shattering most of all of his ribs. All of his ribs, basically. Yeah, all of his ribs. All of his ribs shattered. Leg broken. Normal arm broken. Neck somehow fine. But his eyeball, out. It's gone. Deku doesn't know where it is, it's just gone. If you're wondering, it is the right eye. And eventually, All For One gets enraged. All Might gets enraged, and actually gets so mad that he actually unlocks Black Whip. Oh my god. Did All Might just unlock Black Whip? And he actually completely annihilates All For One with it. Taking out All For One. Yes, I just made All Might 10 times stronger than it used to be. That is epic, I might add. And All Might didn't get into his skinny form. He's still into his regular form. Good job, All For One. All Might, you did it. Great job. Everyone starts screaming with happiness seeing All Might defeat All For One. Then all the cameras cut because Gran Torino kicks all of them and knocks everyone out. Very gently, by the way. Then Gran Torino lands, telling All Might that he did a good job, and he probably should retire now. And then All Might then coughs up blood and turns back into his human form, saying, "Yeah, I think I'm done." And the next day, Deku's arm, leg, and body is in a cast, and he has a. Then a doctor is working on a robotic eye for Deku. Remember, this is the future, so very far future. So obviously they have optics and stuff. Then, then announcement comes on the TV. All Might explains that he's going to retire, and the new symbol of peace shall be Endeavor. And if you can't deal with it, then you do not need to be in the society. And All Might then turns off the camera, and then he doesn't speak. He doesn't want to answer the press. Everyone's trying to reach him, but no one can reach him. All the press, by the way. No one, the people that All Might told aren't trying to reach him. Which are basically all of the pro heroes except Endeavor. Because he knows Endeavor. He knows he's going to get pissed that night. He's just stopping. He knows that Endeavor really wants to beat him. But sadly, All Might's just too old and really just wants to give up. Not give up. He just wants to relax for a couple years. And if the society can't deal with it, then sadly, that's just the sad truth about people. They just need to stop sometimes. So, that is that arc. Okay, but now we get like a future. Then Deku wakes up eventually. All of his bones are healed. Eventually. Oh, so Deku is now with. And then he opens his eyes, realizing he has an optic eye. And guess what happens? It shoots lasers. Now Deku is a half Superman. And, yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave things for right now. Like, subscribe, hit the post notification bell. Liking helps with the algorithm. It does. Trust me, I've been there, done that. Subscribe. Subscribing helps me get more motivated to make better content for you to watch. And hitting the post notification bell reminds you every single time I post one of these. And these are pretty nice, not gonna lie. Um, peace.